Okay, so we are going to start laying on our rollers lengthwise. So if you have an average size foam roller and you are a tall person, you want to sit near the edge of the roller so that when you lay back, you're completely on the roller. So once you get there, feel the roller right along your spine and see if you can feel your shoulder blades almost hugging the roller. And place your hands by your hips. And then you're just going to gently rock your pelvis back and forth. So as you're rocking your pelvis back and forth, you're feeling your back pressing into the roller and releasing. It should feel kind of nice. And happy Mother's Day to everybody. Okay, so from here, find what I would like to think of as neutral spine. So the back of your head, the back of your rib cage along the roller, and your pelvis is on the roller, but we're not pressing into the roller. You're in a neutral spine. And all you're gonna do is lift your right leg up into tabletop. And from your hip bone, you're gonna press down and up from the hip joint. And just feeling how it goes deeper into your abdominal muscles. Stay here, stay on that right leg and open to the side and in just a little bit. So this will be more challenging. You could use your hands to help you stay on the roller. And then bring that right foot down and lift your left leg up. And same thing, tap the foot down and up. And really keeping a nice evenness. You can keep your gaze straight ahead. Once that leg comes up, open and close a little bit to the side. Notice if that supporting leg starts to move. Bring both legs down, lift both arms up. Hands can be forward or facing each other and hug the roller with your shoulder blades. And then reach your fingertips to the ceiling, separate your shoulder blades. So you're going to hug and separate. So when you lift your hands up, the shoulder blades are completely separated. And you should feel a nice motion in your shoulder area. And then plug those shoulders back down and bring your right arm back. Bring it back up. Bring your left arm back. Now maybe bring both arms back and then bring them by your hips. So exhale as you bring your arms back. Inhale as you bring them down. One more time. Bring your palms towards each other. If I were to draw a line with my fingertips, they would be right over my belly button. So from here, bend your elbows, and bend your elbows softly as you open and close your arms. Let your arms hold open and notice if you feel any kind of stretch in the biceps and the shoulders, and just stay here for a moment. And if this isn't deep enough for you, but you want to go a little more, you can bring your arms like a goalpost. And notice how it feels when you do that. So it should be a deeper stretch. Now, if you're on a higher roller, it might be really, you'll definitely feel it more. You could place yoga blocks under your arms to assist in opening that up a little more. And then you could bring your arms down by your hips, and we're going to just gently roll off the roller in the best way for you. And right away, we're going to place that roller under your neck. And just roll your head side to side. And just see how that feels to you. So if your roller is big, it might not feel as awesome. And you could always get the same effect by rolling up a yoga mat or a beach towel or something, or even using a pool noodle is a little more neck friendly. But it should feel really nice as you go side to side. And then release the roller from under your neck. Place your legs into tabletop. Shoulder blades down and back. As you poke your toes to the wall in front of you, slowly nod to come all the way up. I'm going to tell you, the reason I got stuck is my back is really locked up. So let's do a couple of those. We're going to roll down and really see if we can get more articulation in our spine. Exhale, roll up and notice where you're getting stuck. So the roll is on the exhale, the inhale is the rest, and the roll to come up. Boy, am I feeling that today. I wonder if I'm not the only one. So now we're going to go into more of a yoga style movement. So I'd like to get everybody onto their hands and knees. So we were talking about hands and things that are good for the hands. So what I hear a lot about is that when we put our hands here, that it hurts their wrists, it hurts your hands. So I'm gonna give you a little exercise tip that I hope helps. We're gonna imagine that somebody just gave you 2 delicious cupcakes with beautiful icing, and your fingertips are making little cages, and you don't want the palms to crush the icing. So when you're on your fingertips like this, it really forces you to go into your upper arms. So you may not be able to hold this long, but keep that idea as you bring your palms back to the floor. And if you feel like what I felt, it really took a lot of the pressure out of the hands and wrists. So at any point, if that doesn't work for you, you can go into fists for wrists. That takes it out of the fingers for sure and out of the wrists. Or you can come all the way down to your forearms. Whatever you choose, choose the version that you can maintain a connection with your head, neck, and shoulders. So as you inhale, think of your chest reaching towards the mat as you gently feel what happens. A light look forward, and then as you exhale, feel your lower back pressing towards the ceiling and let the head, neck, and shoulders release. Inhaling into cow and exhaling into cat. Throughout our practice, if there's anything that doesn't work for you, don't do it. And you can always comment on ideas that I can help you find an alternate way to move. So now come back into a neutral spine, into tabletop, and take your right arm to the sky. Bring your legs together underneath you and lace that right arm all the way underneath you and lay on the outside of that right shoulder. So from here, if this feels okay, make sure your hips are over your knees. Maybe take a bind with that left arm. Now, if that doesn't feel good to you, it sure doesn't feel good to me. I'm going to keep my hand here. But you can choose whatever works for you. Now, if you really want a little extra challenge, send your left foot back and lift that left leg up. Then bring that knee in. Come all the way up to tabletop. Take your left arm up, and we're going to thread the needle on the left side, keeping those hips even, deciding if you'd like to take the bind to this side's a little friendlier. Send your right foot back and maybe lift that right leg up. And release. And come into a forearm position. Grab your opposite elbow with your opposite hand, release your hands forward, let your head drop. So just by letting your head drop, it should release your neck, and then lift your head just enough so you're completely neutral. From here, bring your right foot back, and then bring your left foot back to meet it. And we're in a forearm plank. And then rest yourself all the way down to the mat. Place your hands right under your armpits. Let your forehead rest on the mat. Roll your shoulder blades towards your hips. Think of anchoring your hip bones into the mat and lifting your belly button a little bit off the floor. And then from here, lift your hands off the mat and see if you can just find a little extension in your upper back without getting into that lower back. And watch where your head, neck, and shoulders are. A lot of times people go like this. I want a nice lengthening. And then you slowly come back down. This time you can keep your hands on the mat and let the hands assist you a little bit. So you'll know if you're going too far if you feel this in the lower back. If you're feeling okay here, add a little extra energy from those hands. So we're not getting into the lower back, and then we're going to come all the way back down. Now we're going to press back and come into child's pose. Bring your toes together, knees apart, and sit all the way back. Let your head rest on the mat, and let's take a few moments here and breathe deeply. Feel the lower back opening up. And this is a great time to set an intention. So if you have no idea what I'm talking about, you can think of something you're thankful for. Maybe you're thankful that it's sunny out today. I don't know, wherever you are, find something that you are thankful for. And that could be what anchors you to your practice. As you exhale, start with your tailbone and roll up into tabletop. And then from here, take your right foot back and keep it on the mat. And send your right heel back. Come back center, lift your right leg up. Keep your hips even, reach your left arm forward. Really feel that lifting sensation in your right hand. I'm not going to ask you to do this, but I'm going to show you how much weight I actually have on my right hand. And then come back down and switch to your left foot. Lift your left leg up. Send your right hand forward. And a good way to test yourself out, only if you feel secure about it, is to see if you can get to your fingers, but I'm not recommending it. Exhale down. Let's do a few just inhaling and exhaling into a spinal balance. Using your breath. So you may notice, if you're looking, that I'm alternating, and not on purpose, well actually on purpose, just to show you there's different options. You can bring your feet like I'm doing right now. Or if it feels better to you, you can curl your toes under. So whatever feels right and good to you. Come back center, come back to child's pose. Actually, let's bring our knees together in the middle of the mat. Bring your feet to the left side, bring your hands to the right side, send both hips to the back left corner. Come back up, bring both hands to the left side, bring both feet to the right side. Send both hips to the back right corner. Come back center. Grab your foam roller. Come to the back of your mat. Place the roller right behind your knees. And then slowly climb your way into a forearm plank. And then we're just going to roll from right above your hips to right above your knees. Or I should say right below your hips to right above your knees. Really getting into your quadriceps, and see if you can let your legs relax and keep the belly button reaching towards the sky. Gently back and forth. Hopefully that feels therapeutic. And then we're going to work onto a kind of a kneeling cat. So doing our best to keep our bodies upright, you're going to nod your head, bring your hands forward, roll into your forearms, and see if you can just let your forehead come down to the mat. So doing your best to allow your chest to open. Let's take a couple deep breaths here. And on your next exhale, press your forearms into the mat to roll back up to being all the way upright. And then nod your head, come forward. Find the roller. Come all the way down. And then pull from your belly to come all the way up. Let's try that one more time. Nod forward, come all the way down. Pull to come all the way up. I'm hoping that felt pretty decent. It's a really nice opener for the neck, shoulders, and chest. So let's have a seat and take another moment. You can set the roller aside and just make sure however you're sitting is comfortable for you. And we're just going to take a couple more breaths as we sit nice and tall and reach your right ear to the sky. So if you can see yourself in the camera, or you're doing this on your own, looking in a mirror as well, you can see that your shoulders should be aligned. A lot of times if you're not looking, I'll see this kind of thing. So you want to keep those shoulders aligned, and think of lifting your head as you let yourself get a nice stretch in the right side of your neck. And breathe and hold. And you'll know exactly what's going on when you're in this position. So look again in that camera. Make sure that your shoulders are even. Better. And then rotate your head on a diagonal and look towards the right corner of the room where the wall meets the ceiling. So depending on, again, what's happening with you, you might even feel a release in the front of your neck when you do that. And then on that same diagonal, look down towards your left armpit. And you should feel a stretch in the back of your neck on the right side. Please be very careful with this next thing. So you're not going to push with your hand, you're going to push with your head. You're going to take your left hand behind your head, right at that occiput, and press your head into your hands and release. Bring that arm down, roll your chin center, lift your head up. Roll your shoulder blades down and back again. And if it feels okay to you, think of pressing your shoulder blades back as you sit tall. And turn your head to the right, and turn your head to the left, and look straight. Now it's up to you. You don't have to do this, but I'm going to change the cross of my legs. Shoulders down and back, body nice and tall. I'm sitting tall on my sit bones. And then from here, you're going to lift your left ear towards the sky. And just stay here, getting a nice stretch in the left side. And then you're going to turn your head to look up at the left corner of the room where the wall meets the ceiling. And then you're going to turn and look down towards your right armpit. Take your right hand at the base of your skull and press your head back into your hands. Release, roll your chin center. Lift your head up. And we're going to bring those arms back again. This time turn your head to the left to start. Turn your head to the right. Look, center, and release. So that's for all the requests for head, neck, and shoulders. And I'm hoping that felt as good to you as it did to me. So let's come into Baddha Konasana, soles of the feet together, knees apart. And with every inhale, reach those knees towards the earth. With every exhale, let them come back up. Just lengthening with every breath. And then let those knees reach towards the floor as you sit up tall, and just bend your knees as you reach forward. So your spine stays neutral. Can you lower your chin a little so your head, neck, and shoulders are aligned? And just look at your feet like there's an interesting story and your feet are a book. Let's take a couple deep breaths here. And then sit up tall and just extend out your right leg and place your left foot on your left inner thigh. There are some people who will not be able to let their knee come to the floor. You can put a yoga block or a roller right under that knee. It'll take any pressure out of your knee. Sit nice and tall and reach your left arm up and think of your shoulder blade gliding up and down. So if you can see what I'm doing here, I'm just moving from the shoulder joint. I'm not going like this. So look and see, and you should only feel your shoulder. Plug that shoulder, and now I want you to think of the ribs. There's ribs right here, and I'm going to lift them to come up and over the right leg, getting a nice stretch in the left side of the body. If you feel pretty good here, maybe aim your left bicep behind you, opening up even more. Take a nice deep inhale, exhale, release, and as you exhale, come all the way up, and we're going to lay completely onto the left side. And we'll start just like this. So you're on your left forearm, your shoulder is right over your elbow, and watch for the tendency to sink into the shoulder. So we want to be lifted up. So if you feel pretty stable, you can straighten out your legs, keep lifting from below, lift the top leg up, stay there, and let's draw tiny little circles with that top leg and reverse it. And you can do whatever you want with the top arm. You might use it for stabilizing. And then flex that leg forward and point that leg back. And add an opposition with your hand and leg. And watch that you're not sinking into your hips or sinking into that shoulder. The next time your leg goes back and your hand goes forward, get a nice deep stretch. And then come back in, bend both knees. You can stay up here or rest down. Lift your feet, open and close that top leg, just 8 times. And then from here, sit back up. And if you're okay sitting like this, maintain this position. If not, find a position that works for you. And then we're just going to lift up your right arm again. And we're going to lift up and over and bring your right hand to the floor on the right side of the mat. As you exhale, aim your back hip, your right hip towards the mat as you curve into like a cat. And then lead with your chest like you're looking through a window for a cow. So you're doing a sitting cat and cow. We're actually doing mermaid. Using our breath. The next time that hip comes down, turn to the side, come up and take a counter stretch. Come back center. And then come back to sitting in Baddha Konasana. We're just going to open and close those knees a few times. And then just let them reach down as far as they'll go for you as you sit nice and tall. And then extend out your left leg as you sit nice and tall. And you're going to reach your right arm up and lift up and over the left side. So again, you're lifting up into the ribs as you come up and over. Feeling the stretch in the side of your body. Your shoulder blade is down. And if it feels okay, open up that right bicep behind you. Take a nice deep inhale. Exhale. Press into the floor to come up and lay completely onto your right side. So same thing on this side, making sure you're supported, making sure that you're lifting up. You can keep your knees bent or straighten them out. Lift your top leg and circle that foot. Reverse it. Kick that leg forward and point it back. And you're only going as far forward and back as you can without letting the hips get out of alignment. And use the arms. Keep lifting up through the bottom of your body. Feeling that right side lifting. The next time your leg goes back and your arm goes forward, really lengthen and lift. Come back center. Bend your knees, lift your feet, open and close that top leg. And rest, and then from here you're going to sit all the way up. And let's say this side is a little more challenging. Remember, you can always adjust the position. I'm going to sit up on a roller to make it easier for me. And you're going to take your left arm up and bring your left arm to the left side of the mat. And as you exhale, press that hip down as you find your cat. And then lengthen as you find your cow. And press that hip down. And lengthen. So I took the roller out because I really want to see if I can open up that hip a little more. Let's do 2 more. 1. Lengthen, look through that imaginary window. And last time, press that hip down, come to the side, come up, and take that counter stretch. And then from here, bringing your right hand to the mat, bring your left hand to meet it, and come back into that tabletop position. So we're going to start in the safest version of this. So you're going to come down to your forearms and let your head and neck relax. Curl your toes underneath you and see if you can lift your hips up. So we're doing dolphin in yoga. So the reason I chose this is because a lot of people are complaining about their wrists and hands, and this is a little more stable. But if you have tight hamstrings, you are feeling this big time. So that's this version. Or you can come up to your hands, curl your toes underneath you, and find downward facing dog here. So if you need to, bend your knees and send your hips back a little more. Let your head and neck go. Feel the chest reaching towards the floor. So even though this may not instinctually feel great, I will tell you it really feels like a nice opening in the chest and the neck because you're letting your head go, you're decompressing. As you exhale, come into a plank. If this doesn't work for you, drop down to your knees and then come back into child's pose. Really breathing into that lower back. And then come back to tabletop and see if you can feel a lifting in the belly. Bring your right foot between your hands. So from here, you're real light on your hands, or you can always use a couple yoga blocks or something to support you. And I just want you to shift forward and back and keeping Uddiyana Bandha. So Uddiyana Bandha is a lifting sensation around the belly button. I always like to compare it to zipping up a pair of jeans right out of the dryer. So it's lifting and supporting. And see if we can come into Hanumanasana. So it's like a half split. And it's okay if the knee isn't straight. See if you can point and flex that foot. Ideally, my spine is not in the right position. Ideally, your back is more neutral. I am very tight here. So having a little lift helps. And then you're going to come back forward into that half lunge. I'm going to go to fist for wrist, curl those back toes under and lift that back knee up. Lift the belly up and then come back down. Let the knee come down. Place your left hand on the floor and then take your right hand on your right leg and look over that shoulder to the sky. Take a nice deep breath here. Unwind. Now this next move is not for everybody, but we're already almost there. So I'd like for you, if possible, to walk your right foot to the left side of the mat and see if we can take pigeon. So you can always bring that heel in a little as long as you don't want to get it into your knee. Curl your left toes underneath you, lift that left knee up and see if you can settle into a deeper sense. If this is not for you, you can lay on your back and do a figure 4 stretch. But if pigeon is something that is a challenge that you feel pretty good about, you can find whatever variation works for you. So you'll see on the other side better. Right now, my shin is not parallel to the mat. I'm in the position that works for me. So you're gonna come all the way down to your forearms. If you feel okay here and you could release a little more, extend your arms and rest completely onto the mat. The most challenging part of this position is to let go. There's a lot going on, and I want it to be the best version for you. So just take a couple deep breaths. The only place I don't want you to feel this is your knee. Try for one more deep breath. Press your hands under your shoulders. Curl your back toe underneath you. Lift up and come back into downward facing dog. Feel the shoulder blades reaching towards your hips. You can always bend your knees. And then from here, come back to tabletop. Take your left foot between your hands. And we're gonna just go back and forth, warming up into those positions. So it's a lot nicer and easier if you have something to give you a little lift. I don't have a good example right now, but it'll help you ease into it, especially if your hamstrings are super tight. So if you can, find your Hanumanasana. So if you have something taller, I have that little chest, but anything to help you find an evenness in your pelvis. And then come forward. Your right hand is on the mat. Your left hand is on your left thigh. As you press into your leg, look up and over your shoulder to the sky. Unwind. Before we get into that pigeon, curl your toes underneath you to lift that leg up. Lift your belly, come down, and then walk your left foot to the right side of the mat. So you start here and you say, I don't like that. So you can bring your heel in a little closer. Lift your back knee. See if you get to your thigh. And my hand is going on my ankle and my thigh to lengthen up a little more. And then I come down. And you just start here. So you could probably see better on this that my leg is not parallel to the mat. I'm in the best position for me, and I want you to do the same. So you're just gonna let yourself relax. You can put your fists stacked and just stay here like this. You can come like this, or maybe you can surrender completely. I'm not there today. So you go where it's best for you. And see with every breath if you can let go a little more. My hope is that you feel this in the left side of your body in the hip region. And notice all the chatter in your brain. See if you can calm it down and know that what you're doing is releasing and healing trauma. Take your hands under your shoulders, press back into that downward facing dog or wherever you feel the best to go. And then come back into tabletop. And everybody lay onto the left side of their body in a 90-degree position. So your knees are high. You're going to hold the back of your head with your hands. Elbows are stacked. Lift up your right elbow. Turn your head to look at that elbow. And then start to roll that right shoulder blade back towards the floor. Keep your head looking over that right elbow. And just stay and breathe. Unwind. Reach your right arm forward. Reach it to the ceiling. And roll back, looking over at that hand. nice deep breath here. Unwind. And switch sides. I'm going to go ahead and switch sides. This way you can switch sides however you like. Holding the back of your head with your hands, shoulders down, knees up tall, everything is stacked. Lift up your left elbow, keeping those knees stacked. Start to aim your left shoulder blade to the mat. Breathe and release. Feel that shoulder blade reaching down as you look over your left elbow. And know it's okay if it doesn't make it to the floor. The more you hold, the more you release. And then unwind, and you can take that left arm, reach forward to the ceiling, and follow your arm with your head as you go back. Unwind. Take your left leg behind you and lay back onto your back. Hopefully your rollers are nearby. You're going to take your roller and place it right underneath your knees. Shoulder blades flat underneath you, and just start to rock your pelvis back and forth, tailbone, belly button. And then lift your hips completely off the mat for bridge. Ribs are down, hips are up. We want really nice extension in those hips. Bring the roller so it's right under your sacrum. Hold on to your right leg with both hands. Extend that left leg to the mat. Gently pull that right knee towards the right armpit as you energize that left leg to the mat. As you exhale, switch sides. Pressing that right leg to the mat as you hold that left knee towards your left shoulder. Breathe and release, really pressing down, getting a nice opening into the psoas and hip flexor of the right side. Then exhale, bring both legs together, and I'm finding where my hips are going to feel this the best as I roll side to side. Nice, it should feel really good. Come center, place your feet on the mat, lift the hips up, remove the roller, wrap your hands around those hamstrings, exhale, press your toes to the floor in front of you. Boy, my back is still super tight. And then you're gonna bring the rollers to where your shoulder blades are. So when you roll back, you're gonna land right in between your shoulder blades. Your hands will be behind your head. Let your head rest into your hands. So something else I've noticed when I teach class, I'll ask people to let their head rest into their hands, and I will see this. That is not restful. That will pinch into the back of your neck. Think of your arms shaped like a hammock, and you're just letting your head rest into that hammock. The hammock doesn't go back when you rest back. Your head just rests into it. And then from here, finding the position that feels the best to you, as you exhale, start opening up from your chest to go back. So I'm not moving my head and neck back. I'm just moving from my thoracic spine as I go back. So nothing is getting into my neck. And if it feels okay, you could actually get your head to the floor, stay there for a moment, and maybe open up those elbows to the side. So it really depends on the size of your roller. My roller is not really big and round, so it's easy for me to get here. If it was bigger, it would be much more of a challenge. And you could lift your elbows and come up, and if you like, you can take a couple rolls up and down, really get a nice massage in your back. And then as you exhale, see if you could come all the way up. Set the roller aside. And we're just going to have a nice, comfortable seat. And the last thing we're going to do is we're going to do the exercise for your hands where you squeeze and widen your hands. It actually feels really good. Another helpful thing you could do is squeeze something like a tennis ball or something softer. I can't think of it. But you know, anything that you can squeeze and release, it'll help. And if you'd like, you can very gently pull your fingers back towards you and switch. Inhale your hands above your head into Jai Mudra. Bring your thumbs to your third eye and thumbs to your hearts. Let your shoulder blades rest in their imaginary pockets as you sit tall. Gently bow your heads as you gaze at your fingertips. Remembering your intention one more time. I wish you all love, peace, joy, and wonderful good health always. Namaste. And thank you very much.